To begin with, could you maybe tell us where your family, how your family ended up in Brighton, Colorado, of all places?
Well, my father came to the United States in the early 1900s. He came to actually to Rock Springs, Wyoming, and Camera, where he worked in the mines, and also, can you hear me? He also worked as a laundry man, but he decided that wasn't his criteria that he wanted to follow, so he decided he would come to Denver because he knew Mr. Takamine, who was a potato distributor and seller. But even after he came to Denver, he wasn't really happy. So he had met up with several Japanese farmers, and then he decided to go to the San Luis Valley, and they traveled by railroad. They shipped all their belongings by rail cars, and I think it took them several days to ride the train from here to Blanca. And then, actually, I was born in Brighton, but I went to the San Luis Valley as an infant.
So in California, Japanese Americans faced alien land laws that prevented them from owning their own farms, Issei anyway. So what your family found was that in Colorado, your father was able to purchase his own farm?
Well, later. When they first went out to the San Luis Valley, they leased, or else what they call sharecropping. And they paid so much to the landowner, and they got so much. Later, as they moved around in the valley from Blanca, from San Acacio to Mesita, and then they moved to a town called Alamosa. From there, then we moved to Blanca. And we farmed in Blanca for several years. And later, my father bought a small acreage at the foot of Mount Blanca. And so we owned our farm.
What kind of neighbor Japanese American communities were there in the San Luis Valley at that time?
Well, we were quite widely spread out over the entire valley. There's a few families in Mesita, there's a few families in San Acacio, and then we moved to Alamosa. They were all spread out. Many were, I would say, 10, 15 miles apart. And so actually, as far as having too much gatherings and stuff like that, it was rather hard because we had a little small truck to travel in, and that part of that was used to sell, take the vegetables to sell. So we really didn't have a whole lot of contact with a lot of the Japanese.
Did you have contact with other people of other races? And who were your neighbors?
Our neighbors were Hispanics as well as white people.
And was there any sense of animosity?
Not really in that valley. There wasn't too much animosity, but still we did incur a lot of people who called us Japs. They tried to flatten the tires on the cars, and they tried to burn the church in Blanca, stuff like that.
So it was a Buddhist church in Blanca?
Yes.
Okay. Now, turning forward in your recollections to the outbreak of World War II, how did you find out about the bombing of Pearl Harbor?
By radio. See, we didn't read about it till the Denver Post came by rail cars or however they were saying, and that's how we read it in the paper. But we had one of these little radios that we turned on, and then they were announcing that Pearl Harbor had been bombed.
And what was the reaction that you got from your schoolmates or your neighbors, family, friends?
They were saying, well, it's too bad. Well, it's too bad. It's about all they had said. There wasn't really a whole lot of animosity shown at that particular time.